Hello YouTube, this is Scarecrow Kaiser. How's it hanging? As you've probably noticed from my inconsistent uploading ratio, I've been busy. Some of you know, some of you may not know. I got married recently, as you can see now. So been very busy because of that, as well as it's my last semester of college, and I have a ton of work to keep up with. Just doing homework is like a part-time job, basically. Spending almost 30 hours a week trying to do stuff outside of school, but as well as I'm in my new place, but AT&T messed up and we still haven't gotten them to come out and set up our internet and stuff, so that's why this is so late. I'm already kind of slow about getting this deck profile up. By the time I actually get my internet, it will be even later, but better late than never. So I'm gonna get started. This will be another Cairo deck profile. It'll be the Rebirth. As you know, if you know me or been watching me for a while, Kagero is my favorite clan. Draconic Overlord is my favorite unit in the game. And I've done very well playing Draconic Overlord decks in the past. This year, unfortunately, if some of you were wondering, because of how busy I am, I didn't get to go to any regionals or anything. So I didn't even get to go to any, so that's why you probably didn't see me making topping, because I didn't even get to go. But, so to get started, starting Vanguard, Red Pulse. Of the starters you can use for this deck, this is what I've found works best, at least for me. I really like the other starter for Draconic Overlord. I think his name's Fargo. He's a very good card. I like him a lot. But in my experience, at least with my playstyle, I find that Red Pulse works better. Yeah. That's basically it. I think Fargo's a really good card, but... Alright, then to move on to the triggers. Got 7 crits. Whoops. 5 draw, and then obviously 4 heal. So I'm doing a 7-to-5 ratio. You guys have probably noticed I use a 7-to-5 ratio in a lot of decks. It's either that or an 8-and-4. But I like the 7-to-5 ratio for this deck because I found that I need the more offense of the crits to push my opponent back. I also like the defense of the crits because having a 10 shield in hand is a lot better than just having a draw trigger that you drew into and it's just a 5 shield. But I still like the generated advantage of the draw triggers. It helps you draw into your pieces so you can keep the deck going, as well as the card advantage it generates helps you maintain field, because it's not that easy to, if your opponent's hitting you hard hitting you really hard, to keep enough rear guards that you can use the Rebirth. So I like the card advantage generated by the draws, that I can have enough things to keep refilling the field. And sort of on the same subject, this card is really effing good. You've heard me talk about it so many times before, and this deck especially. The fact that I can move it to Soul and use it for another Soul Blast, as well as it makes a cross ride Rebirth 826, so going up in 11, that's pretty devastating. So that's it for the triggers. Move on to grade 1s. Got 3 of the classic All-Star Kagero Gojo. The discard 1, 7k. He's really freaking good. He's been in Kagero decks ever since the beginning. I think it'll be a cold day in hell before he gets stopped. It'll probably be a while. They'd have to make some really impressive cards for him to stop being a viable card. In this deck specifically, he lets you like discard excess Draconic Overlords to fuel like your Draconic burnouts and make your deck more consistent. He's just such a solid card. I got 3 Violence Horn, the 10k attacker. He's pretty good in terms of he does what he's supposed to. He boosts, and if he needs to, he can step up to the front and attack. He's not as good, I would say, in this deck as compared to like 10Ks are in other decks. Once you get to late game, your rear guards in this deck don't matter as much, and he's not even really at 10k till you get to turn 3. But he's still a pretty decent card. That's why I've chosen to play 3 of them. So then we got 4 of our Griffin. Griffin is really good. He's one of the best cards in the deck. Other than being a 7k, he lets you thin the deck. He loads the graveyard with overlords for burnout. He's just so good. The only thing that could really make him better is if you could use his skill when you ride him. He's just a rearguard skill, but he's really effing good. And then last, we have our obvious 4 perfect guards. Doesn't really matter which one. I like Bari. I've just always preferred Bari in terms of perfect guards. For the grade 2s, we got 4 of our 12k Draconic Burning Horn. Then we got 4 of our Draconic Burnout. This card is freaking amazing. This is like my favorite grade 2 in the game. It's so effing good. For Soul Blast 1 and putting an Overlord on the bottom, you get to blow up any card. It's so good. This card is really good. One of the best cards in the deck. Like, Griffin's probably the best grade 1, and this is hands down the best grade 2. And then for my last grade 2, I'm running 3 Berserk Dragon. There's definitely, like, I can see a lot of areas where you could not play him. I prefer to play him because the pressure of the card advantage generated between him and Berserk going back and forth sniping rear guards. His downside is the fact that he's 9 and he's a counterblast 2. Usually you can afford to do him like once a game. Sometimes you won't be able to afford to do him, but usually you can do him once a game and everything will still go fine. His downside obviously being the counterblast, and I say the fact that he's a 9 is a downside because you could choose to run 10Ks instead of him, which makes for a strong defensive vanguard ride, and it's a stronger rear guard, and having rear guards that are harder to kill is an advantage because you need to maintain field so that the end or the rebirth can lock everything. But I prefer Burnout because the card advantage put up between him and Burnout and then followed up by the vanguard attacks. That's how I like to play the deck. And then very obvious lineup for our grade 3s. We got our 4 Break Ride and our 4 Rebirth. Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. We all pretty much know how this deck works. Very aggressive, like endgame push. I don't much more to say. Even like after the Break Ride, the Rebirth is still a very intimidating card. I don't think I've ever, I should knock on wood, had to actually ride the Rebirth before riding Draconic Overlord yet because of the starter and Griffin and stuff, but it'll probably happen eventually, and that would kind of suck, but still, Rebirth is still a good card. But yeah, thank you for watching. I'll, once my internet's up, be a lot more consistently uploading stuff. So, thank you for watching.